You remember me from last time?
Yeah, tell me your name again.
My name is David, was a big fan of yours until I realized you received so much funding from Roy Singham that I can't really support you.
Oh, well, actually, we don't receive that much money from Roy Singham. Most of our money comes
Last
from
time you told me you didn't
individual
get any money from him. Now it's that you're receiving not that much.
We don't get a penny from any foreign entity.
Like someone like an oligarch that goes to CCP propaganda forums and speaks to them.
Actually, he's not an oligarch. He's an individual who made some money doing
Well, that's one big fat lie. Never have I ever been a fan of Medea Benjamin, but this is the same trick that I used 5 months prior to this confrontation to confront her about her group. 5 months ago, I was in DC for Peak Headset's confirmation, and who do I run into the Senate building cafeteria? None other than the co-founder of Code Pink. And you've been previously criticized for being associated with China. And then especially receiving funding from China, specifically with groups that are attached to the CCP, have gone to forums with the CCP, have been to propaganda forums of the CCP. What do you say to that kind of criticism?
Well, I say it's ridiculous because we get zero. I don't even know anybody in the Chinese Communist Party.
What about Roy Singham?
Well, Roy Singham can give his money to whatever he wants to give, and he gives to lots of causes, but that's not really where Code Pink is.
He's associated with the CCP as well.
He is not associated with the CCPs. And
according to their website, Code Pink is a feminist grassroots organization that advocates to end U.S. welfare and imperialism and believes in universal health care that should include the right to an abortion. But what do they actually do? Well, they do a lot of this.
When are you going to stop bombing babies in Gaza? Veterans are committing suicide and are homeless. My father, a veteran, committed suicide, and you're sending money to bomb babies. We send money to bomb children in Gaza. Shame on all of you.
But that's not where the issue is. The issue lies with their funding.
Your co-founder was married to him, Jody Evans. What's the deal there now?
you know, somebody can marry whoever they want. It doesn't mean anything. If you look at Code Pink.
So the co-founder of Code Pink was married to the guy that speaks at CCP propaganda forums, and you guys are saying that has nothing to do with you?
Absolutely nothing to do with it.
What about the People's Forum? Don't you go and host a lot of events at the People's Forum, which receives $20 million from Roy Singham?
Israel might have about 200 nuclear weapons.
Why are we so worried about Israel and not worried about Chinese influence, especially when we have organizations in the United States that destabilize America, like your organization, taking money from Chinese government?
I think we are the best thing for this country because we want our money, our resources to be used to help people here in
So why do you
country.
take money from an oligarch that cozies up to the Chinese government?
I don't.
You do?
First of all,
It's clear transactions.
Neville Roy Singham is an American tech millionaire and a self-described socialist. After selling his company for $785 million, he packed up his bags and moved to Shanghai, China, a rather interesting place to retire. There, he's cozy with the Chinese Communist Party, attending and speaking at their propaganda forums, meeting with high-ranking officials amongst the CCP, as well as sharing an office with the Macau Group, a media company that is part of the CCP's propaganda machine. Singham was married to Jody Evans, the other co-founder of Code Pink. Since their marriage, Code Pink's tone regarding a couple interesting topics has completely shifted. They went from criticizing China's human rights abuses to defending it, launching campaigns like China is not our enemy in 2021.
I'm standing outside one of the congressmen from Michigan, and being from Michigan, I'm outraged that he would accuse Code Pink of getting money from the Communist Party. We struggle to pay for Metro, to pay for meals, to get here. We're tired. And I think he owes not only the people of Michigan, since I'm from Michigan, I think he owes the United States public an apology unless he can prove. What proof does he have? These are the lies that get spread around Congress.
it's also dangerous that they pick Chinese Communist Party because so many people in this Congress want to ramp up the fear against China. And so to say that we're getting money from the Chinese Communist Party is part of that calling China the enemy. And it also means that they're calling us the peacemakers the enemy as well.
And now, the money trail. Since 2017, Singham has funneled more than $1.5 million into Code Pink, more than 25% of their budget. This cash flows through nonprofits like the People's Support Foundation, which his wife, Evans, runs and Singham himself controls. This means that he can literally dissolve it or fire its board. Singham is a key funder of PSL-linked groups, notably the People's Forum, a New York-based Marxist organization.
This is the People's Forum. This is a space that we created for everyone who's been left out, everyone who's been oppressed and exploited. For all of us to come together and collectively dream of what a new world can look like.
Here at the People's Forum, we believe and are committed to placing culture at the center of our work. And it's not something that is added as an accessory to movement, but is at the heart of movement. And so in order for us to move the minds and hearts of people, we need to be able to uplift the popular culture of our people.
As General Baker once said, our duty is to turn thinkers into fighters and fighters into thinkers. By asking questions, engaging in study, and practicing collectivity, together, we can build a community that is able to contend with mainstream ideas and actions that oppress us all in New York City and around the world.
The People's Forum is a hub in New York City for organizations like Party for Socialism and Liberation, Code Pink, Students for Justice in Palestine, all to organize. Since 2017, he's donated over $20 million to the People's Forum through shell nonprofits like the United Community Fund and Justice and Education Fund, which often use UPS mailbox addresses as their registration.
The House GOP has actually launched an investigation into Roy Singham. What do you think about that?
I think they can do whatever they want.
Isn't he influenced by foreign government and you're against that?
No, he's influenced by his own whatever.
His Marxist ideology that cozies him up close to the CCP government?
He can be.
He's a self-proclaimed Marxist.
Have you ever
He's a self-proclaimed Marxist, right? So is that something that Code Pink endorses?
Have you ever heard of the Constitution? Have you ever heard of...
Absolutely. Freedom of speech and everything is great. I'm just wondering, why is co-founder so close to a Marxist advocate who is close to the CCP Foundation?
Enough of my free speech for the moment.
How close are you to the Party for Socialism and Liberation? Another faction that receives a lot of money for Roy Singham. This is usually what happens when you confront Medea Benjamin. We've done this previously in the cafeteria of the Senate building. Yeah, but you don't want to answer why you take so much money from the Chinese government or from somebody that is so prominent amongst the CCP. You're against foreign interests, yet you take money from an individual that is propped up by the CCP government. He's a self-proclaimed Marxist as well.
Singham shares office space in Shanghai, China with the Macau Group, a company focused on promoting China's global image. He's donated nearly $1.8 million to it, and its founder Li has ties to the CCP propaganda efforts through Tsinghua University. This suggests that Singham operates within Chinese approved media ecosystem. It's not just in the United States. Let's take a look at India. In India, Singham linked to NewsClick, a news site that was raided in 2021 for allegedly taking $5 million from Singham to promote pro-Chinese talking points. However, back to the United States, funding groups like Code Pink and the People's Forum has landed him on the radar for congressional leaders. The House GOP launched a probe into Mr. Singham a day after I spoke with Congresswoman Luna. Here it is.
I pulled the financials and I actually found this great, incredible link by an analyst, data analyst by the name of Data Republican on X. And she came up with the financial ties on who's actually funding these riots. Because let's be real, these people are popping up, they're busing people in, they're getting issued gas masks or whatever it was, expensive stuff. Where is it coming from? And so it turns out that specifically to LA, so this impacts you and your community, specifically to LA, an individual by the name of Neville Singham, who's actually funded by the Communist Chinese Party, is actually the one funding it, gives to the PSL, which is the Party for Socialism and Liberation, and it's coming literally directly from China. It lives in Shanghai.
Make sure that you're subscribed to my channel to see the next video where I showcase how Singham's money pours into organizations like Party for Socialism and Liberation, and then they cause riots in my city, Atlanta, Georgia. And let me know in the comments, what do you think about this overall scheme? Do you think that it's legal, or should Congress do something about when foreign actors fund these organizations?